Assalamu alaikum. We want to continue our discussion. Last time we talked about the misconception that Islam has been spread by the sword. Today we want to take our discussion to the next question, question number 5, which is why are all Muslims fundamentalists and terrorists? Well, let's look at this. The question is often hurled at Muslims either directly or indirectly during any discussion on religion or world affairs. Muslim stereotypes are perpetuated in every form of media, accompanied by gross misinformation about Islam and Muslims. In fact, such misinformation and false propaganda often leads to acts of discrimination and acts of violence against Muslims. A case in point is the anti Muslim campaign in the American media following the Oklahoma bomb blast, where the press was quick to declare a Middle Eastern conspiracy behind the attack. The culprit was later identified as a soldier from the American Armed Forces. So let's analyze this allegation of fundamentalism and terrorism. The definition of the word fundamentalist. A fundamentalist is a person who follows and adheres to the fundamentals of the doctrine or theory one is following. For a person to be a good doctor, he should know, follow, and practice the fundamentals of medicine. In other words, he should be a fundamentalist in the field of medicine. For a person to be a good mathematician, he should know, follow, and practice the fundamentals of mathematics. He should be a fundamentalist in the field of mathematics. For a person to be a good scientist, he should know, follow, and practice the fundamentals of science. Therefore, he should be a fundamentalist in the field of science. Now, one cannot paint all fundamentalists with the same brush. For example, one cannot categorize all fundamentalists as either good or bad. Such a categorization of any fundamentalist will depend upon the field of activity in which he is or she is a fundamentalist. For instance, a fundamental robber or a thief causes harm to society and therefore is undesirable. A fundamentalist doctor, on the other hand, benefits society and earns much respect. Now, I am a fundamentalist Muslim by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who knows, follows, and strives to practice the fundamentals of Islam. A true Muslim does not shy away from being a fundamentalist. I am proud to be a fundamentalist Muslim because I know that the fundamentals of Islam are beneficial to society and of the human race as a whole. Now, many people harbor misconceptions about Islam and consider several teachings of Islam to be unfair or improper. But this is only due to a insufficient or incorrect knowledge of Islam. If one critically analyzes the teachings of Islam with an open mind, one cannot escape the fact that Islam is full of benefits at both the individual and collective levels. Now, according to Webster's dictionary, fundamentalism was a movement in American Protestantism that arose in the earlier part of the 20th century. It was a reaction to modernism and stressed the infallibility of the Bible, not only in matters of faith and morals, but also as a literal historical record. It stressed on belief in the Bible as the literal word of God. Thus, fundamentalism was a word initially used for a group of Christians who believed that the Bible was the verbatim word of God without any errors or mistakes. According to the Oxford Dictionary, fundamentalism means strict maintenance of ancient or fundamental doctrines of any religion, especially Islam. Today, the moment a person uses the word fundamentalist, he thinks of a Muslim who is a terrorist. Now, the other issue that we discuss here is the misconception of every Muslim being a terrorist. Every Muslim should be a terrorist. A terrorist is a person who causes terror. The moment a robber sees a policeman, he is terrified. A policeman is a terrorist for the robber. Similarly, every Muslim should be a terrorist for the antisocial elements of society, such as thieves and rapists. Whenever such an antisocial element sees a Muslim, he should be terrified. It is true that the word terrorist is generally used for a person who causes terror among the common people, but a true Muslim should only be a terrorist to selective people, antisocial elements, and not to the common innocent people. In fact, a Muslim should be a source of peace for innocent people. Now, different labels have been given to the same individuals for the same action. For instance, before India achieved independence from British rule, some freedom fighters in India who did not subscribe to nonviolence were labeled as terrorists by the British government. The same individuals have been lauded by Indians for the same activities and hailed as patriots. Thus, two different labels have been given to the same people for the same set of actions. One is calling him a terrorist, while the other is calling him a patriot. Those who believed that Britain had a right to rule over India called these people terrorists, while those who were of the view that Britain had no right to rule India called these patriots and freedom fighters. It is therefore important that before a person is judged, he be given a fair hearing. Both sides of the argument should be heard, the situation should be analyzed, and the reason and the intention of the person should be taken into account, and then the person can be judged accordingly. Islam is derived from the word salam, which means peace. It is a religion of peace whose fundamentals teach its followers to maintain and promote peace throughout the world. Thus, every Muslim should be a fundamentalist. He should follow the fundamentals of the religion of peace, Islam. He should be a terrorist only towards the antisocial elements in order to promote peace and justice in society. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.